The 16th of June is a day for South Africans to reflect on problems facing young people today. And according to studies, 58% of scholars in the country have experienced bullying, including cyberbullying. It's become quite commonplace and poses a risk to children's health. So to discuss this even further, I'm now joined by the assistant principal of Spark Rivonia High, that's Nicole Fortune, joining me today. Nicole, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you, and also happy Youth Day to you on this as we continue to not only commemorate but also speak on issues affecting young South Africans. Quite importantly, though, bullying, which it seems like when it comes to just young people and spaces whereby they're receiving their education or they're just together, it seems an ongoing problem. But add cyberbullying to it, it just further exacerbated this issue.
Yeah, so I think that bullying, it really has become a realistic challenge that we're dealing with in schools. If we think about bullying back in the olden days, it was just there on the playground, in the school environment. But now our biggest challenge is that our kids are carrying this bullying, and it's carrying all the way home through cyberbullying. It's through technological devices and really giving these unrealistic expectations for our scholars nowadays. So I think our biggest challenges at school at the moment is really dealing with bullying and how to curb that bullying, and really preparing our scholars and giving them the necessary skills to deal with this type of bullying.
What's the direct impact, Nicole, on bullying? Because we could speak about it, but those who go through it definitely also have to go through a knock on their mental health.
Definitely. And we see it more often nowadays in schools, more than what we used to. So nowadays we really see that bullying is having an effect not only on their social interactions with other schools, but how they really are participating in the community. And we also see it in the academics. And at the end of the day, we are trying to prepare scholars, not only to be able to engage with the academic content, but also to engage and become active citizens, as part of the South African community. And with the bullying, we really have noticed that a lot of scholars really kind of lock down and become more introverted and stick with themselves. And it really has negatively impacted their social interactions that they have with scholars, as well as with the community. And if we look at the COVID-19 pandemic, this was really an impact on our scholars. And we see them struggling to adjust to the social interactions that they have nowadays. And they'd never had that for about a year, and now coming back into the school environment, the adjustment and them being able to adapt with the new stresses of life is really taking a negative effect on them as scholars, and as children. And our biggest concern is suicide nowadays. Bullying really can have that long-lasting effect on kids nowadays.
And I'm glad you mentioned that point, because we've seen definitely numbers going up in terms of the suicide rates. Some incidents, Nicole, also happening in the school environment. Young pupils committing suicide inside the school premises, leaving notes such as they've been bullied by so-and-so or a teacher, because bullying and cyberbullying can be quite isolating. You have no escapism. You feel like when you come back to school and encounter your bullying, it's secondary bullying, because you constantly feel intimidated. You go online, you're still trending for all the wrong reasons. The question is, how can we nip this in the bud and resolve this, especially when we start at the home level as well as the community level, the immediate surroundings of the young person?
Yeah, so what we've really tried to do at the Spark schools is, at the high schools, we have a curriculum that we've input. It's called the character quotient. So the character quotient curriculum is basically building the character of an individual. So it deals with scholars really dealing with their emotions, being able to understand their emotions, and then being able to understand what the person next to them is feeling. And this character quotient curriculum runs throughout the whole year within our schools. And it deals with about 15 minutes in the morning before they go into society, before they interact with the academic content. They really have that time to deal with their own emotions and, and really experience what the person next to them is feeling. So through the character quotient curriculum, we really are trying to instill this idea of our scholars being emotionally aware, as well as aware of other scholars, and other people around them, and carrying these strong values through into their community and into the society, and, developing them holistically community so that they are able to deal with their challenges. We have a really interesting position at the Spark schools, which is the assistant principal of scholar support. So we have individuals at the school who are able to sit down and speak to the scholars, give them the freedom to address their emotions, to, if they're challenged with something, ask for advice. So creating that safe environment. And, what we instill with them in the schools, we're hoping that they carry that through into the communities, instilling strong values within our scholars. At Spark, we have strong core values that we work on, which is service, persistence, achievement, respect, and kindness. And, instilling that strongly within our schools as well as within our scholars, and hoping that they take that and carry that through into society and into their communities. And, I think it's really important that we need to address and educate the communities so that they understand, what kids are going through at the moment, what our scholars are going through. How can we support them? What advice can we give to scholars nowadays? So really carrying that through from the school all the way into the communities.
And what's been the engagement like and the response, from the pupils themselves? Because I think from as far as Spark School is concerned, you're doing the best that you can from, your side, playing your part in ensuring that you incorporate this as part of your curriculum. But is it received well? Are the pupils engaging on it? Are you still seeing the same attitudes, the same old misinformed attitudes on bullying?
I think that's a really interesting question because it's quite a work in progress. I mean, it's difficult to say we're going to do this, this, and this, and, expect to see results immediately. But what I can say is that our scholars, they truly do encompass these values, and they do truly encompass this, the systemic of the curriculum quotient. So we really, really do believe that our impact that we're having with our scholars in the schools is starting to carry through into the communities. They're starting to speak a lot more of what's happening in the community. And they're starting to engage with that. And, we can see the response in how they are assisting other scholars who are not in Spark schools, and how they are assisting and showing, this is what we do at our school, and putting it on social media as well. So for the rest of the community to also explore that. An interesting thing that we did do was we had the scholars really share their experiences of bullying and, guide other scholars within the school as to how they really cope with those strategies of bullying, and to see how our scholars are actually coping with the bullying and the skills that we're giving and how they're able to use those skills. It's wonderful, like really, really, truly great things that we're experiencing in our youth. And they're so dynamic and they're so eager to learn and they're so eager to change. This is the time and the opportunity where we really need to grab our scholars and assist them and guide them so that the change that they do make, is evident and it's effective.
That is so encouraging to hear, Nicole, because that's what education is all about, right? When you've received information and credible information, you share it with your community, you share it with your friends, you make it cool. Because if they're sharing it on social media, they're making it cool not to engage in cyberbullying and also saving many lives in the process. So thank you so much for not only the initiative that you're taking as Spark School, but for also speaking to me right here on eNCA. Nicole Fortune, Assistant Principal at Spark Rivonia High, making sure that they, take matters into their own hands in terms of addressing bullying, cyberbullying, prioritizing mental health and well-being of their pupils, and incorporating, of course, that into their curriculum. So that is definitely a plus on this Youth Day.